So today I've got this fairly knackered piece of oak from local woods, which tends to split terribly, as I have discovered. This piece was first turned as a bowl saver exercise about 18 months ago, then put in cling film for 6 months, and then it was turned and put in sawdust a year ago. I've already done a video which is on my channel as to how I got to this point. So I have to say it was extremely wet, but needless to say I was quite unhappy to find that it had split this badly. But I thought I'd give it a go at returning it and then texturing it. So the piece has not only got 2 splits in it, one very substantial, but it's also shifted laterally. So returning it is definitely going to be a challenge. I'll get rid of some of that. So I've got a few more mil. So with some of the ovality, if that's such a word, taken out on the outside, with the thickness down to about 5 or 6 mil, I'm just turning it on the headstock at an angle to make it easier to now hollow out some of the inside. And I think I'm going to turn it in reverse, so I've just tightened the grub screws up on the chuck to make that safe and secure. Because there's still quite a lot of lateral shift in the side wall, as you can see there, I've decided to use a carbide scraper just to gently nibble away. I think a regular gouge might just take a great chunk out. I took this very steady and slow, and then when I felt a bit more confident about it holding together, I've put the lathe in the normal direction and do a bit more shaping on the inside. So I've now moved back to the outside. As you can see, I've taken some of the excess off at the rim very gingerly with my 3/8 bowl gouge, and now taking some gentle cuts, trying to get to slightly more even thickness without the whole thing blowing up on me. There was a lot of weight left in the pedestal to ensure that the tenon was strong enough to not get sheared off during the bowl saver routine, and my mistake was leaving that tenon on. Of course that produced differential stresses, and that's why it split, so my bad. Anyway, taking a bit of the weight out now because it is quite dry, and I think I've got it thereabouts, so going to sand it and then think about texturing and filling the crack. But first I need to defuzz the split and make sure the crack is nice and smooth. So with the Dremel, or Dremel-like tool work at the moment finished, decided to mark up some sections using the indexing that align approximately with the cracks and splits, so I can put some chisel chased lines in it that make the crack sit more comfortably. So I've started off now cutting the chase marks in using a carbide mini circular blade thingy. So I went around the piece running the lines up, and then I thought, well, I don't know, they don't really look like something or nothing. So I decided to create a whole load of secondary lines just to break it up and make it look and feel a bit more organic. And then I thought I'd also roughen the surface up as well. I'm going to apply some colour in a minute, but I just thought using the this little Dremel blade bouncing off the surface might produce some interesting textures. Up until this point, I'd not really decided what I was going to do with the crack, but I've decided now to fill it with some milliput, which I've done off camera and forgot to actually film. So I've used some white milliput, and I tried an experiment of mixing some blue epoxy liquid dye and also some Pearlex into the white milliput to see if it would produce a strong, robust colour, but I didn't add enough. It was so white with blue streaks, kind of not really much use to Man and the Beast. So I've sanded it all back. It's made a very effective fill. Sanded it all back, and I'm now going to ebonize it to cover it up, and then get on with some colouring. So that's the texturing on the outside. So I think I'm going to use some Joe Sonia iridescent or interference paints just to produce some sort of random colours on the outside, which might well rescue the bowl. Okay, I'm going to play about with some iridescence using the Joe Sonia system. Got some turquoise, I've got a blue, I've got a red, and I've got a bit of natural, well, pseudo-natural sponge. So let's start with a bit of the turquoise. Thin it. And then very sparingly getting a little bit on the sponge, randomly splodge it on everywhere. And then the same again on the outside. Right, a bit of the blue iridescent. I'm taking care to splodge it around randomly with gaps in between so that the turquoise continues to show through. And then again on the outside, actually I rather like the turquoise, but I've committed now to blodging a few other colours on, so hopefully the turquoise will still show through. And then I've now got a bit of red, the Joe Sonia red colour, and I'm blodging that on and rubbing it in with a cloth paper towel just to sort of create some highlights, some blush effectively. And then a little application of the red just around the rim, so there's a little bit of gradation, because again I don't want to cover up the turquoise and the blue. Finally, a bit of the gold. Sorry, the light's a bit bright. Again, this is just about building up interest and layers and some accents, so that as you hold it up to the light you get different colours showing through. dry, don't want to overdo it. So with that dried, I've decided to add some more accents using Inca Gold acrylic wax paints. Again, just to add a little bit more robustness over the shimmering colours. And then a few more accents with the nice bright blue Inca Gold as well. Again, just dotted round. And then I forgot to film it, but I did actually go back and add just a little bit more of the turquoise in the bottom to just bring that back again, because it had been covered up a little bit too much. And that's quite successful. Before I get round to lacquering it, I want to now turn the bottom off and also create a nice detail on the underside of the foot as well. Steady, gentle cuts, because it's only held in the button jaws and there's quite a lot of meat to take off. I want to make the base of the bowl a nice recess, nice concave recess, which I'm going to do some texturing on. And then with the knob removed and a nice bit of negative rate shear scraping and a little bit of sanding, it's ready to get the texturing tool out. In this case, it's the Crown Mini. So having marked up some demarcation lines between the textures with a pencil, just using a point tool now to cut some V-grooves and then burn some darkened lines in with a piece of Formica. And there we have it, a light sand on the bottom, a bit of sanding sealer, and then the whole thing sprayed in several coats of lacquer.